Hey, David, try talking.
Talk, 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 talk.
It's coming through the stream? Cool. Awesome. I think it's working, David.
Now I'm embarrassed. I just said that.
It's all right. I mean, this is going to be a little trial run for everybody.
I just said that really controversial thing.
Oh, it's super controversial.
Talk.
But yeah, for everybody else here, now we've got some of the issues worked out here with David, a good friend of mine. But going to do a quick showcase. I made this little creature, a little robot in Modeler, and David's an expert at Modeler itself, which is a VR sculpting application. And we're just going to do a little collab stream together. He's going to showcase a little bit of his process. I'm going to take his model and showcase a couple of things that we could do in terms of texturing and materials. And we'll do a little showcase as Cinema 4D as well. So if there's any questions about the process at all, questions about Substance or C4D or Redshift, feel free to just drop them into the chat, and David and I can help answer those. But David, if you want to take it away and kind of showcase the little creature you're working on, it's going to accompany the robot.
Hey everybody, for those who don't know who I am, my name is David Mellor. Online I go by Mellor Mograph, and for the past couple of years I've been really enjoying this fun little tool called Substance 3D Modeler, and I love creating characters, creatures, and everything in between using VR. So yeah, like Nick said, he built this robot character in Modeler as well, and while his is more mechanically designed, mine is going to be more kind of cartoony, organic, and just kind of have like a little juxtaposition between the two. So I did get a little head start on kind of blocking out some of the main body forms for this little dragon lizard creature. And during the stream, I'm just going to continue to add some more details, and then when we're in a good spot, I'm going to pass it over to Nick to add some nice texture and give it a little bit more life.
Cool. Awesome. Sounds good, David.
All right. Let's make sure this works. Right now it's in the desktop, and I think the lighting's going to change as soon as it's in VR mode, so just let me know if it's working.
Yeah, it's working good.
It's working?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no.
Oh no.
It looks like it's working on the screen. This is something I've had an issue with this headset before, where sometimes the tracking is off, so I might just have to unplug it and plug it back in. But Modeler shouldn't be closed, so it should be okay.
I'll get a couple of technical difficulties. Let's get started. Looks like it just popped as well.
Yeah, it's just being weird. Just have to unplug the USB. Unplug. Warming up. Well, while my thing is getting going, Nick, do you want to explain how you got some of those more mechanical shapes on your part of this collab?
Yeah, so for the robot itself, I have a couple of videos going through the process of modeling this. But with Modeler, because I'm able to go between a desktop mode and a VR mode, I'm able to sculpt both organic shapes, which David's going to showcase here in a second, and then using desktop mode, you're able to sculpt more hard surface elements. So you kind of saw David taking his headset on and off every once in a while, and when he did, the UI kind of popped back into place. When that UI is there, you're in your desktop mode, and you can do those hard surface modeling elements. So all those chisels, the parting lines, the bolts and rivets, anything that's like really kind of geometric looking came out of that hard surface modeling mode, and all the organic sculpting forms come out of the VR mode, which is David's in right now. So it looks like the VR mode's working, David. So if you want to kind of take the lead there, we're actually seeing through David's eyes in the VR mode right now. So we should be showing off some of the more organic sculpting tools and features in Modeler.
So right now I'm just kind of giving a quick little like turnaround in VR mode to see what I'm working with and basically show off kind of what it looks like from my perspective. But for you guys, just so no one's getting a little disoriented, I'm gonna have a fixed camera and I'll switch perspectives every once in a while from different angles so you can see in a much more static perspective. I've got the body here, and earlier I sculpted this little goofy little head. I just bring right into here. And kind of look this way. I'm gonna say hi. Oh! Also, pardon my childishness. I just found out about the fixed cameras in Modeler, and so now I'm just gonna have a field day with them.
Oh, no, you're good. Is it possible to switch back to the VR mode for just a minute, just to show people kind of what you're seeing?
Yeah. There we go. See that?
Yeah, perfect.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, so what are you going to be working on today? Going to give the little dragon some teeth or giving him some wings?
No wings, but teeth definitely. Also, just like maybe some fins, accents. I think when we were talking off stream, Nick, we wanted to make this kind of like an underwater sort of rover. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to have this little sea dragon companion riding on top of it.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. Which are you going to tackle first?
First, he needs a neck, so I'm going to do that.
Let's do that.
I'm trying to think where's a good spot for the head.
Oh, and David, it sounds like you're a little quiet. Just a heads up if you're able to turn up the audio on your side.
Oh, yeah. Is that better?
Yeah, a little bit better.
Cool. Yeah. Just get a little closer to the mic.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So put this head right here, and start with just sculpting out a neck, or drawing out a neck. I do like to start with just kind of blocking up the forms as separate like shapes. So you can see here, like the jaw on this creature is separate, the eyes are separated, even these legs are made up of different segments as well, just to block out stuff really easily. And then when I'm in a good spot, if I want to keep it separate, I will. Otherwise, I can just blend them all together and smooth them out.
What's your thought process when you're combining things together? Is it more on the ease of manipulating, or are you thinking ahead of time in terms of animating the creature or whatever you're working on?
Yeah, it depends on what I want to do with it in the end. There are some where I just want it to be more or less like a sculpture, and so I'll just have it in a fixed pose. But if I want to animate it, then I'll model it in like a T pose. So that's easy to like import into Mixamo or just rig it manually in C4D. In the case of this though, I'm just gonna do like a nice, or like just like a simple like sculptural setup. And I did a recent like personal project too, in a similar vein where the character was just modeled as it was and not like in a particular like rigging pose. And I can show that in a bit.
I think about the dragon.
The tiger.
The tiger, yes. No, I love that guy.
Yeah, that was a fun one to do.
How's your approach to modeling, by the way? Do you have a preference or a way of working a modeler, or what kind of drew you to Modeler versus other VR tools? Because I know both of us, we use ZBrush still quite a bit, and C4D. Do you still model in C4D and ZBrush, or has it just been switched over here?
I still model in C4D a bit. I think the only thing that's changed for me is that I will sometimes start in Modeler to kind of sketch out my idea in 3D and then refine that further in C4D. For example, when I was working on a music video, I kind of sketched out a car, and then I brought that into C4D and blocked out, like did some box modeling around those shapes. So I had the silhouette down. All I had to do was just kind of like add the details and sharpen things up a bit. Heads up in time. They can have it like looking this way a bit more. He's looking around. There we go.
He's got the derpy eyes.
Yeah, he's looking everywhere. I'm gonna switch the camera to have a fixed perspective for a bit for everyone. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, looks really good.
Okay. I think that we should decorate his. Let's give him some teeth. Start with some teeth.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I kind of like his nubby feet, to be honest. It's kind of just fun and quirky, dude.
Yeah. What we could do is we could actually turn these into like finny feet, like just add like a big sort of fin shape right here on the back here. So.
Oh yeah, flippers would be good, especially if he's going to be an aquatic dragon.
Actually, let's just start there.
Yeah.
Show how I sort of manipulate like a flat shape in here. So to make our finny shape, I'm going to just grab this cylinder. I'm going to color it differently just so we can differentiate it from the actual leg joints. And I'm actually going to pull this out here. This leg, because these are linked objects. So whatever I do on this instance, yeah, you can see that. Pull it over here with it. Pull it this way, so it's separated. I'll zoom it up so you can kind of see the detail work I'm adding. So yeah, now when I go into here and mess around with it, it's modifying all those different linked objects. So it's a great way to like zero in on particular parts. So I'm going to grab this cylinder shape. I'm going to flatten it. I'm just going to make a big old stamp right here. I'm going to shrink it a bit more. And boom. All right. We got that. And I'm going to use the elastic tool. And now I'm just kind of pushing and pulling the shape until I have like a good shape for the fin. Resolution's a little bit low on this fin, so I'm going to bump that up a bit just so we don't lose any mesh as we're pulling it around. And it looks like this arm is kind of facing inwards, so I'm going to fix that by grabbing these two. And that like that. There we go. That way it doesn't intersect as much with, or intersect at all really, with the robot. We've got this mirrored over here as well. This is intersecting a little bit weird, so I'm going to take this clone and just reposition it until it's in a spot that I like.
Yeah, I feel like your actual process too of having the superimposed view of the arm or the element that you're working on. It's actually nice to kind of work on the micro details. I know it's kind of still an early build of the model, but I could see this being really nice to get the small details in while keeping the overall like larger scope in mind. Especially with the live link is super, super handy. I actually don't use the live link too much myself. I just kind of go for it. But this is a cool workflow. It's a really cool process.
Yeah. Like a couple years ago when I first started playing with Mograph, this is sort of the process I did to make like a mech character in here, where I would kind of assemble everything on like a blocked out shape, and then I go in, create my link objects and just start sculpting and like piecing those together is almost like Legos. And as someone who loved Legos as a kid, and still does to a degree as an adult, it was very fun to work like that.
Yeah, it's awesome too because you can see the kind of that final result, kind of right in front of you too, while you're getting into the nitty gritty details.
Those are thin. I think we can add a little bit more to this arm. Just trying to think what else do we add to this?
I think we can go back and add those teeth in. I think that'd be perfect. That's probably the biggest thing that's missing from the guy.
Yeah, probably.
Can we switch back to the VR view because we're a little far away from the teeth?
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, perfect. You can see it.
His teeth are not going to be green. They'll be white or gray. Otherwise, that'd be disgusting. Make sure that we're on the head. So that when we create our objects, let's just start with a tooth right there. A little bit more resolution. Up in there. Bring it over. Yeah, there we go.
Cool. Also, what's the I guess for people who are new, what's your take on increasing and decreasing the resolution while you're working?
Increasing lets me add more fine details and just have more volume geometry to work with. Decreasing is great for smoothing out pieces that I don't really want. So, for example, like when I merge the neck and the head together, or the neck and the body together like this, I'll take this, and then I will merge it. I don't want that line to show as much, so what I'll do is make sure the resolution is relatively low. It's a good size, and then I will just smooth that in. So now it is one seamless shape.
Nice. Yeah, it's super clean.
Yeah, and while we're at it, I'll do it for the tail too. And yeah, the tail and the body are same resolution, but just for the sake of showing what it looks like if I merge as a higher resolution, I'll increase the count a bit. And so these squares that are showing up on the mesh aren't actually the polygons themselves, but more of a representation of how finely detailed the mesh is. I'll merge those. It's gonna take a second. You can see the progress right here. So yeah, these merged, and they have this hard line for this, so I can just go in and smooth it out. And there's a couple little facets along the back too, so it'd be a little bit harder to smooth that out at a higher resolution. You can still see there's a bit of that crease right there.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of see it in the lighting. So what I can do is just one more step. I can go in and I can smooth that out, and it's a much smoother transition once again.
Yeah, for the technical folks out there kind of watching, it's voxel. The program is voxel based. So what's kind of happening is it's think of like millions and millions of like little Minecraft cubes, if you want to kind of think of it that way. And it's easier the way I kind of explain it. And David, let me know if you kind of think of it a different way. But it's when you're dealing with millions and millions of little cubes, it's easier to smooth out like maybe like 1,000 cubes versus 100,000 or 1,000,000. So when David's lowering the resolution, he has to smooth or clean up less amount of volume versus him increasing the resolution. and getting the detail back. That's probably the best way I can explain it. I don't know if Dave, if you have another kind of way to explain that process.
No, that was a good description.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky, tricky kind of concept to kind of brain out, especially coming from like polygonal based modeling. It looks like my dog's teeth, actually.
Move the bottom of it too, so the teeth don't intersect.
Yeah. And then I know you still have your puppy. Your puppy still has sharp little baby teeth still.
No, he's got them all out now.
Oh, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, he was shedding them. Well, he's 8 months old now, so he got all of them out. The only thing is that during I'm gonna go back and fix the symmetry. Okay. There we go. And I can push this back. When he went to surgery to get the old snip, he still had one of his baby teeth kind of like lodged next to his adult tooth.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could show an example on here. It was basically like his little tooth was like right there next to his big tooth.
Oh, can you move the camera down a little bit? It looks the VR camera is like centered a little bit high. Yeah, perfect.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so his tooth is like right there, like little tooth and big tooth. So during his surgery, they just took it out. Now he's got a full set of adult teeth and no baby teeth.
Oh.
We're going to take these baby teeth and move them to the front to make them big adult teeth. And squish that in. You know what I can do? I'm going to take one of these cameras and we're going to position it right by the face so y'all can see the teeth building close up without all the other nonsense. I'm going to grab this guy. Pull it right. How's this angle, Nick?
Pretty good. If you can center it over to the left. Yep, there you go. Right there.
There we go. All right. All right, back to the dental work. Push that out. Get his teeth something to rest on.
Yeah, and for TJ, I have a 1.5-year-old puppy as well, and he lost his teeth and he'd chew them in front of me because he wanted me to basically watch him because my dog's a little psychotic. I don't know if your dog's ever done the same, David, especially being 8 months old. If he has like his moments of just being pure chaos.
Oh yeah, he is a chaotic little guy. We love him. It's a good little guy.
Oh man. Oh no, just the dog stories from the chat. Yeah, I don't think so the worst I've ever had with my puppy, and again, he's 1.5 years old, so he's grown out of this. He ate the sidewall of one of the walls of my apartment that cost over $1,000 to fix. So that wasn't great. Oh yeah, but like having feminine products in the mouth probably not the best. Those are kind of scary nubby teeth.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna delete these teeth so we just have one, two, I think. That way I can manipulate them all if I want to. Make them all sharp, make them all not sharp. Who do we got in the chat so far?
We have TJ in the chat. Also, David, is there a kind of a natural swapping point where I can take this model and show off a couple things in Painter while you clean up a bit more?
Yeah. How about, let's see. I'll finish these teeth and then I'll put like a big old dorsal fin on the top of this model.
Perfect.
And then send it over to you.
Sweet. That sounds perfect.
Cool.
Do you ever work in the desktop mode here, or do you stick primarily in VR for your workflows?
I like the VR mode mostly.
Is this an interesting way to kind of experience it, or kind of what draws you to using VR mode over desktop?
I just like the VR mode. It's just a fun way to experience it. So teeth. Give them some big molars in the back.
Those look really good. Oh, perfect. Nice. What process are you going to do something similar to the flippers for dorsal fin? Or are you just going to take the flipper for the dorsal fin?
I'm just dropping the foot flipper into the back foot for this part, but then I'll just make a dorsal fin with like a very similar process to before.
Cool.
Take like big old cylinder. Sure, it's large and flat. So we don't have a ton of resolution. I'll lower it. I'll make it the same color as the. That's that green fin.
Cool. Can you switch to your VR view for a bit too while you're editing the fin?
Sure.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
There we go.
Yeah, it just makes it easy to see because I think the static camera, we're missing the top of the fin, just so this gives us a good idea like what you're working on.
Yeah, totally. Okay. I'll use the move elastic to start positioning and warping the fin into place. How's my audio, by the way?
Audio's seems like it's doing pretty good now.
Good. Okay. Put it around. give it a couple waves.
Is also your preferred way of working is like blocking out the large shapes and then using the warp and elastic tool to reposition everything? Or do you kind of mix up your working style depending on what you're modeling?
That's mostly how I like to do it. I like to block out shapes and then manipulate with the warp and warp elastic tools. So yeah, like this already looks awesome.
Cool.
Big fin on the back.
Yeah, I love this.
Let's see. Before handing off to you, it's already looking pretty good. I mean, I could work on this forever, but for the sake of handing this off to you, I think what I'll do is I'll merge these leg shapes and the head to the body. Actually, we'll keep the head separate, but I'll merge the leg shapes so they're a bit smoother too, and I'll pass it off to you.
Cool. That'd be perfect. Yeah, and then that way I can show off a couple of things in Painter. And then maybe if you want to, showcase like one of your finished projects, like what you do after everything's been finished in Modeler. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, actually happy to show off the tiger that I was talking about earlier. I think that'd be a fun one.
Yeah, I think it'd be perfect.
Because even on my post that I made for it, you only see the front of it, so for folks to see the side or the back of it.
And from here, I know you're going to be showcasing and talking about your projects a little bit later on, but would you take this and go straight into C4D? Do you paint in here? Like, what's your kind of process for painting up your characters?
I will paint in here sometimes, kind of block out what I want color-wise or gradient-wise for my character. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll actually take this model and I'll export it with some retopology. And I'll either do it in here or I'll use a ZBrush. And then I've actually created a little node network in Houdini to automatically create a point gradient along each surface. So if I have the starting point like at the top of this leg, it's going to calculate the farthest points from the top that starting point and create a black to white gradient along all the vertices of my model.
Ooh,
I'll take that into C4D as vertex color data, and I'll remap that with Redshift.
Ooh, that'd be actually pretty sick to see later on. Just like a side topic, I know it's going to go way deeper than what we're planning.
I won't show the Houdini setup, but I will show what that map looks like on my other project.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Our idea how it looks. Let's give this guy. Actually, let's take these fins and turn them into kind of fin ears for the dragon. Put them right there. And hear that. And let's merge the head. Yeah. And then we're going to toss it over to you.
Cool. Yeah, I love the fins on the side of the head. Yes. Some big derpy eyebrows. Oh, I can do a lot with that.
Big swirly eyebrows.
Keep it. That's perfect.
There we go. Boom. All right. There's our guy. You ready to
Cool.
work your magic?
Perfect. Yeah. Pass this over, and then can show a couple things off in Painter.
Save this.
And you can also probably delete the little mech guy. You're just exporting the dragon, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I think it'll be pretty quick to send that over to me. Just drop into our Discord, and I'll pop that open in Painter, and then we can kind of show a couple things off pretty quickly there. And your export settings, do you have like a favorite setup, or kind of like how do you approach exporting for, especially for like some of the more advanced stuff you're doing in Houdini?
So I'll do a raw mesh export FBX to make sure everything exports properly, and then from there I'll take it into any number of programs and be very, very specific about how I remesh all my objects. Then take that remeshed version and drop it in Houdini.
Cool.
If it helps you, I can do like just quad remesh directly into here and then send that to you.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah, we can just keep it super simple. And what I can do too is I'll show some automation features just so we can easily pop that into Painter without having to do a lot of that work. Like, in case we don't have enough time, or you're just want to get a project at the door, I can kind of show things that make your life a little bit faster.
Yeah. I'm going to pause my screen for a second, just so I'm not sharing any information that shouldn't be out there.
Yeah, no, that's all good.
The stream, is that gonna ruin things?
What are you trying to do?
Just stop the stream.
Oh no, I think it's looking pretty good so far.
Okay, I haven't like exported yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you could just drop that over to Discord, that'd be perfect. And while it's exporting, do you have any projects, or even just like your Instagram? You can kind of show off the tiger that you were talking about. Oh, might have lost him. David, are you there? Probably lost him. So let me give him a quick. Oh, you there? No. Okay. Oh, you there? Okay, cool. Probably lost you a bit while I was exporting. Cool. Well,
it was taken to one.
Yeah, I think we're losing connections just because it looks like the export settings it's hitting your computer pretty hard. But while that's exporting, I can get Painter loaded up here and showcase that. So maybe start this here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take David's model here, bring his creature into Painter. And Painter, for those of you who don't know, can kind of think like Photoshop for 3D models, but I can just paint directly onto his dragon here. So all the effects, all of the kind of like scales, colors that Dave was talking about, can kind of showcase a few different workflows here in Painter. David, are you back?
Yeah, I think it was just really chugging along and using all my computer's resources to export that out, but I'll send that to you in just a second.
Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, in the meantime, are you able to show the tiger that you worked on previously?
Do you want me to share that? I'll share the VR model first, so you can kind of take a look at the view all around, and then I'll open up the C4D file, and I can show you how I can add some motion to that and rendering in Redshift.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. And while you're getting that loaded, I'll just share your Instagram page just for everybody to kind of see what it's working on. But these are some of the creatures and characters that David's done in the past. So I believe you're going to be showing off this super cool tiger that you did. And yeah, you mainly made the entire tiger in Modeler, and you said you brought it into Houdini to kind of finish it up.
Modeler, C4D, Houdini, and then C4D.
Cool. Sweet. So I got you dragon. So let's show off Painter. And David, if you want to just take over for any of the people on the streams, because I won't be able to see that. But I was kind of, yeah, cool. But I'll just bring David's model in. I'll be talking through a bit of Painter really quickly here. So one of the things that Modeler doesn't have quite yet, but it's really nice here is we need UVN maps to actually work on the project that David finished up. And we can bring this into ZBrush, we can bring it into C4D, and I actually prefer using ZBrush myself, especially if I'm doing something really complex in terms of UV mapping. I'll pop into ZBrush to unmap, to UV unwrap. But if we don't have time, or I don't want to really think about it, Painter does have auto unwrap features here. So I'm just going to use the auto unwrap features in Painter, just stick to the default settings. I don't want to overthink it too much. But it will give me those UV maps for the creature that David made, just so I'm able to start painting on it, just to kind of like play around. And again, like the UV unwrapping process for those coming from 3D, this is not the best here, but at least it gets us into the door so we can start to paint on this guy here. And start to kind of play around with some materials and some colors. So I'm just going to switch this over to 3D view. And you've kind of saying you're feeling like a teal or like a blue and green dragon, right, David?
Yeah.
So yeah, so actually what I'm going to do that'd be kind of fun is I'm going to add like a translucent kind of fin here to your profile of the kind of oh, whoops, I was trying to move this over here. I'm going to add like a translucent kind of finish to this dorsal fin that you're doing. And a couple of things I'm going to do here to get that going is I'm going to enable translucency and absorption. I'm also going to do the same here in my texture channels here, just to kind of get those nice kind of translucent features open to me. I'm going to add in the paint bucket with those features. And what's nice is that I can kind of enable translucency here, so you can kind of see through that dragon, which is super nice. Actually kind of looks like a fun balloon animal here with the entire thing being actually be kind of a cool effect. Maybe we can think about that later. But for right now, I just really want the dorsal fin and like his kind of hand fins to have that finish. So here we can kind of tint the translucency of this here through the absorption color properties. And what's nice too is that we can actually give this kind of a unique kind of like two-tone finish with working with the base color here. So you can kind of use this ultramarine blue and this green. I think looks pretty good. Obviously don't want it on everything here, but what I can do is, again, I think of this like almost like Photoshop for these models. So I can add in a mask there on my properties and just tap on the pieces that I want that translucent material to apply to. So I got all the fins that David made, so I can kind of apply that translucency over to these fins pretty quickly here, which already looks pretty cool. And if I want to go back, I can always go back into those channel properties and I don't know, how translucent do you want to make these fins, David? like
Good
almost,
right there.
yeah, this is pretty good. And what's nice too,
You
oh,
go for a second? Zoom on.
what were we saying?
Can you zoom out for a second?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's like doing something weird on the back of the tail right there.
Yeah, I think, oops, I think it's just probably a different polygroup there. Yeah, I just had to apply it to that section as well.
Nice.
Oh, and like the top of his fin, I kind of like missed with the auto unwrap. Sometimes, you know, UV unwrapping is a pain. And again, like I prefer to do my auto unwrapping or my UV unwrapping in ZBrush myself. But auto unwrapping is pretty good. Sometimes I would get these artifacts. So I'm going to go back and tap those on. Cool.
Remember, we didn't even have any of this.
Oh yeah, I was trying to do this manually. Oh, it's drive me insane.
Those were the days.
Took way too long trying to do every single map by hand. Was a night.
Apologizing UV unwrap in the snow.
It's yeah, I mean like it's kind of impressive like how easy some of these things are compared to like starting off. Man, because I remember like we were talking about ZBrush from like 2017. And some of the features were like, oh, I wish I could do this, and now it just takes seconds to do. It's amazing. Like how nice things have gotten. Down here though, so like I'm kind of thinking too, like this cool stylized creature, and there's a bunch of stylized materials here. It's a whole like asset library that we have access to. So I'm just gonna search for stylized, and I already downloaded a couple here. Actually really like this stylized phoenix feather material. So I might try to use that for the main kind of like scale fin things here, especially with him being like a water dragon. You know, it kind of felt fun just to do like something more unique and stylized. So let's try the stylized feathers here. And if we're not, we can switch it back to like something more of a scale. And for these materials, just drag and dropped it right onto the creature here, and I can scale it down. It's a little, you know, intense, and it's not kind of mapping correctly. It's again that UV issue. What's happening here is it's taking this material and applying it onto this UV map. Oops, let me move this down so you can see it. It's probably into this UV map, but because the UV map was unwrapped automatically, it's not really tiling in the best way. So we can do something like try planar projection to kind of get those feathers to line up in the correct orientation. I can rotate this because I kind of want these feathers to kind of go down his spine. And we still have some other artifacts that they kind of clean up. But first, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to change the colors just to that same kind of blue and kind of teal color scheme here. And they kind of look pretty nice with that more saturated, bright accents there. Let's crank up the saturation here. Maybe lower those down. It's a bit yellow. We can do the same for these third color feathers. Maybe just really, really bright and saturated. And obviously, we don't want it to apply to everything. So I'm going to use that same process for those dorsal fins. I'm just going to add in a mask here. And I'm just going to tap on the parts of the body where I want that material to apply to. Probably down his body. I'm feeling like maybe like the top of his legs, or where do you think the material should end, David? Do you think the head should be its own material, separate kind of effect?
Something a little bit smoother.
Yeah. So I'll just keep it for his back here. There's a couple of artifacts here. I've got to kind of address this. Maybe I'll do that a little bit later. But what we can do as well, what's nice is that we can add in height and displacement. So height and displacement, for those who kind of are new to it, it kind of like gives the material a little more depth in it. So you can kind of see as I increase this displacement amount, we're able to kind of pull these kind of feathers off of the body. And obviously it's a little bit too intense, but we can kind of lower that down just so it's coming off a bit. And it looks a little sharp and jagged, but if we go to the subdivision count, just crank that up, maybe not that much, maybe to like 6 or 8 here. It'll give us a much smoother result of what those feathers would look like. So now we're getting these kind of cool feathery effects. And if I want to, I can go into here, add another paintbrush, and maybe I want like his underbelly to have like a scaly kind of underbelly, so I can go in here and actually remove where I want that material to be. So I'm just going to paint this away really quickly and kind of show off where this underbelly would be.
Mm-hmm.
And what materials are you thinking of? Do you have anything in mind for his legs or for his head, David?
I think whatever material you go with for the head, which I would say would be like more of like I said, like a smoother material, like maybe like their like smoother scales and something like that.
Yeah.
I think whatever you do there, you do for like the tips or like the bottom half of the legs, and then transition that from with like the feathery scales that you have going on.
Yeah, let's try that. There's this actually looks like stylized dragon scale armor, which might be kind of cool. So I'm going to download that one. I can just download as many as I want. So you can try a bunch of things out. But just for the stream, like maybe I'll just try this fish scale and the stylized dragon scale ones, just to kind of keep it a little bit simple. And we spend as much time as we want later on just to kind of figure out the effects. But I'm actually kind of liking the fish scale here already. But let's scale this down. I'm going to again switch to triplanar projection just to kind of get maybe a little bit better result here in terms of the orientation of this. And I'll move this down so I can see this a bit clearer, and I'll switch to 3D only view. Just checking time. So I'll keep it with the fish scale just for time's sake here. But what's nice is that I can go in here, I can copy this mask, and I can paste this mask into my fish scales and then invert the mask itself. If I can find the invert, there it is. So just the fish scales apply to the underbody. It's not kind of merging in with the dorsal fins. I can do the same here where I can copy this mask and go into here. I'm going to do a little bit of a setup. I'm going to actually add in a fill and maybe it won't let me do that. So let's just do this a little more the manual way. I'm just going to quickly go into my paint bucket here, and I'm going to just select the parts of the body. Actually, sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what the easiest way to do this would be. So I'm going to take this mask, copy this mask here, paste this mask in. I'm going to invert it. There it is there. So it's only applying to the underbody. It's not kind of applying to where like those kind of feather fins were. And then I'm going to also just go in, add in a quick paint layer here. And I'm just going to select the dorsal fins because I don't want those. And there it is. Okay, cool. Said the wrong orientation setup. And so now the fish scale should only apply to the undercarriage and to his head, kind of places where I want it to be. Sweet. So we have the fish scales on, and we can color them up. Let's kind of color pick some blue. Ooh, that's pretty dark. Ooh, the color matching on this one's kind of funky. It's like not quite what I was expecting, but maybe we'll just do like a kind of a faded, less saturated green. Use that mount. And I can also unselect the eyes. I think for the eyes, maybe something just fairly simple. Or do you have something in mind for the eyes themselves?
Nah, just a simple like semi-gloss.
Yeah, I think just kind of keeping this really simple would be good. What is... Oh, I wasn't paying into the mask. That was what's happening. So let's go ahead and paint into this mask here. And I can keep his eyes nice and clean. And just for time's sake, let's keep this eye intact. Also undo the eyebrow because we can kind of do a fun material for that. Or actually just keeping it simple. And teeth. This might be a little bit more on the teeth side. And for those who are kind of wondering, having like really like well done UV maps will kind of avoid some of this kind of like tedious issue that I'm running into a bit here. But like UV mapping is a whole other kind of beast. I mean, I personally try to avoid UV mapping when I can. I don't know how you approach UV maps, David, or if you're just trying to avoid it yourself.
Yeah, I'll use like an auto UV unwrap, or I'll just use materials. I'll just create materials that don't need a UV.
That's true. That's a good point. Because I mean, yeah, especially with stylized work, like you don't, you kind of just have like an all over effect, don't you?
Yeah, and I can show my tiger in just a second too, and like kind of talk through some of the modeling techniques that I use to create certain parts and then show off what I have in C4D. But that had no UVs at all. It was just, like I said, it was a vertex map that just got remapped with a different color in Redshift. And then it's one of those, like, you don't need UVs to apply procedural noises in C4D on render. So that's sort of the way I like to render my creations, is without too much UV like work.
Yeah. And actually, that might be a good kind of like ending note, just for time's sake. I'll put like one more material on for his eyes here, just so we can kind of see what that looks like. I think kind of get an overall feel for, just applying some simple materials, kind of using some masks to kind of paint it out. Again, we'll spend more time and we'll post the final results of both these guys a little bit later. But a little bit of like where I would start with this. Again, I could be a lot more fine tuning and smoothing out these materials, making sure the scales going the direction that I would want them to be in. But if you're ready, David, we can kind of showcase like one of your kind of projects you finished up, going through some of this process, and that we can wrap it up there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'll switch over to the screen. I've got the my tiger sculpt that I made open in Modeler, and I can show.
Yeah, I have it load up now.
There we go. Yeah. So here's my lovely tiger that I created.
Yeah, it looks so good.
Yeah.
I love the little pinstripe tail effect that you have going on, and the wind around him.
Yeah, I'll show how to do that. Here's a back view. This is a stream exclusive. You can't see this anywhere else but on this stream. So yeah, there's like a couple things you don't really get a chance to see, like the stripes on his legs because it's all covered by the smoke. And these objects are actually, these two are instances, but then if you click into here, these objects are all separated out. It's kind of like assembling your own like vinyl toy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, have you ever 3D printed any of these?
I would love to 3D print something like this someday, but I have not since using Modeler VR.
And we should actually, honestly, we should take a look into that. We could probably figure out a way to 3D print one of these guys, because that'd be amazing.
Yeah. I'm throwing the headset, and we're gonna take a look at how. I'll show how I made some of the fur on here.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'll do a quick demonstration of how I made this, like some of the swirling clouds, and I'll also do the segmented tail. And then from there, I'll switch over to C4D and show what that final render file looks like and how I apply that shading effect. I think that'll be a good stopping point.
Yeah, I think that'll be perfect.
My headset is falling asleep.
Oh, that's all. Are you able to just maybe show the C4D side?
Yeah, let's just do that.
Just for I think for timing. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Are you there, David?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. I think it was good. All right. Sounded like it cut out for a second there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think the headset is taking more of a snooze, so I'll switch over to C4D.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. A little quiet.
A little quiet. All right. Let me get a little closer to the mic. All right, how's that?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So let's share my C4D file. Oh. Try sharing again. There we go.
Perfect.
All right.
Cool. Yeah, we can see it.
Everyone see that? Cool. Okay. So that that remapping effect that I was talking about, this is what it looks like as just a vertex map imported into C4D after I run my processing in Houdini. So you can see that I've got in this particular instance, I did bottom to top. So I took the bottommost point of every single mesh and remapped highest point on the mesh, and it generates a black to white gradient from that. And actually, even on its own like this, it looks really, really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say it says such a cool, like almost like a watercolor feel to it.
Yeah, and then for my render, what I'm doing is I'm importing that vertex map attribute. I'm running it through a ramp to get the different color, and then that just gets kicked out into a standard material. So a very, very simple setup. And I will show how that looks in the render, which is some quick real-time rendering, as well as change some of the colors so you can see what that looks like. So we'll turn on, there we go. Okay, so that's what it looks like. It's a little hard to see because I made the gradients pretty subtle, but for this, let's just go crazy with the colors. So let's do, Nick, give me 2 colors.
I mean, you got orange, maybe like orange to blue, just like a orange to teal, the classic, I guess 2007 movie poster colorway.
Yeah, let's do that. Orange to teal. Boom. So yeah, now you can see like those tips on the body are all that teal, and everything like from bottom to top is like orange to sort of this odd gray transition in the middle to a teal. I can probably remap this to more of a purple. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, but it's such a cool, unique visual style. How did you kind of stumble upon that workflow or that look?
It's hard to say. I think it was when I was experimenting with just like generative noises and remapping those colors. And I was like, oh, I could just apply this to like actual like vertex colors. And like when I realized I could do that, it just sort of opened all the doors for me as far as how to create this sort of unique look. And I always like to have, before I figured this out, I would do my painting in Modeler and just render out those vertex colors from there. But adding that extra step guaranteed that the like the gradation across each of those geometry pieces was going to be a lot more smoother than me trying to like sort of smoothly paint everything.
Yeah, that's true.
In Modeler. So it was definitely like a little helper for me.
Yeah. No, I mean, the results look awesome from it. But yeah, no, just kind of like watching time. I think this is where we'll wrap it up. But thanks for hopping on, David, and kind of walking through your process and your workflows.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks, man. Awesome. Yeah, we'll talk to you soon, and then we'll catch up probably at SIGGRAPH.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll see you there.
Awesome. See you on. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in.